Shavua Tov, everybody. I'm Rolene Marks, if you're joining me for the first time, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by these guys, Lay of the Land. If you are joining us for the first time, we have a community here, a family here, so welcome to it. And we take a look at those top stories making headlines in Israel. We do it every Monday to Thursday, and I often hear from so many of you that we cover topics and give opinions that you don't see in your mainstream media, no matter where in the world you are. And I welcome all of you from Sweden, Saskatchewan, South Africa, and not just all the places that start with an S. And just a reminder that if you do have any questions, and there are no holy cows here, you can ask whatever you want. I will try my best to answer it for you. All you have to do is pop your question in the comments section below. Both of our questions today and tomorrow are doozies, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So let's take a look at those top stories. It is day 262 of Israel's war with Hamas, which means for 262 days, 120 hostages from many different countries, many different religions. Very often you forget to hear that there are hostages that are Muslim, that are Buddhist, that are Hindu, that are Christian, as well as Jewish, being held by Hamas. This is not just an Israeli issue. This is a global issue. This needs a global response. So let's take a look at those top stories. And the Israeli government have said that we are moving into a new phase of the war. Prime Minister Netanyahu said that the intense fighting phase is winding down. However, the war is not over. He has clearly stated the war goals of Israel, which is to completely dismantle Hamas's military and governing capabilities, as well as to return all of our hostages. We want to bring the living hostages home to be healed, to rehabilitate, to be with their families, and we want to bring those that were taken, whose bodies were taken into the Gaza Strip on the 7th of October, and those murdered in captivity home for a dignified burial. The Prime Minister also said that Israel is open to a partial ceasefire, which would see the release of some hostages. However, this drew a strong response from the Hostages and Missing Persons Forum, who said that any cessation of the war without the full return of all 120 hostages is a violation of the moral code of the country, which is to ensure that all hostages return home. The Prime Minister's office said that it is not Israel who refutes the hostages or the proposal. This is the proposal put forward by President Biden several weeks ago, but it is Hamas. Tensions on the border with Lebanon are escalating. I was going to say Hamas, but they are the spiritual brother of Hamas. Hezbollah, another Iranian proxy, have been firing rockets, mortars, anti-tank missiles and drones non-stop since the 8th of October. I know many are wondering when war will break out with Hezbollah. We have been at war with Hezbollah ever since the 8th of October, and this escalated yesterday with a significant amount of drones fired towards Israeli positions, seriously injuring 2 soldiers. A short while ago, another massive barrage of rockets were fired towards Israeli towns and communities. And we also can't forget that we have about 100,000 internal refugees. That is about 100,000 internally displaced people who have evacuated their homes because of the situation on the northern border. This is in addition to those evacuated from the south as well. The IDF have struck targets, Hezbollah targets, in the south of Lebanon. Now, it's also very important to remember that Hezbollah is in violation of UN Resolution 1701, which was put into place at the end of the Second Lebanon War in 2006, and states that Hezbollah must stay north of the Litani River. And as Israel has repeatedly said, if you come near our borders, we will be forced to push you north of the Litani River. So we are watching that border with a lot of concern to see what is going to happen on that side. Yesterday, Britain's The Telegraph newspaper published an expose stating that Iran are believed to be hiding weapons at Beirut's Rafik Hariri airport. These weapons, of course, would be weapons for Hezbollah to launch attacks on the state of Israel. And one of the whistleblowers who spoke about the expose said that mysterious large boxes from Iran started arriving, making us fear for a potential disaster. Now, what is also very interesting is that Al Hadath, which is a Saudi-based publication, announced a short while ago that journalists and photographers and reporters had descended on Rafik al-Hariri airport but were not allowed in. This would have given the airport ample time to prove to the reporters that nothing is being stockpiled in the airport. Very, very interesting. Earlier today, the IDF announced that they had eliminated top Hamas terrorist Mohammed Salah. Salah not only commanded several Hamas battalions, but was also responsible for the projects and the designs of various weapons used by Hamas to attack Israel. So slowly but surely, Israel is getting all of our men that we have targeted inside the Gaza Strip. Of course, we all want the big ones: Abu Mazouk, Mohammed Def, and the architect of the 7th of October atrocities, Yahya Sinwar. And finally, it was announced earlier today that children who are severely ill, some of them with cancer, will be allowed to leave the Gaza Strip via the Kerem Shalom crossing and seek medical assistance overseas. This has been arranged in coordination with the World Health Organization. Now, since the IDF took over the Rafah crossing in May, Palestinians have been unable to leave the Gaza Strip, and this is the first time that Palestinians will be able to leave the Gaza Strip through Kerem Shalom, which is not a crossing into Egypt, but a crossing into Israel. And the Kerem Shalom is one of those terrestrial land crossings where humanitarian aid comes in. So this is a very, very welcome and positive decision, and Israeli officials have not commented on it yet. Right, so let's get in today's doozy of a question. It comes from Lisa Mervis, and she is asking about the settlements. She hears a lot about settlements in the media. Are they an impediment to peace? So it's a very, very complicated issue, so I'm going to try and answer it as best as I can. First of all, when we're talking about settlements, it usually refers to Jewish communities in what we call Judea and Samaria, which are ancient biblical Jewish lands, or what the Western media and the West normally refers to as the West Bank. Now, where it becomes an issue is that for Jews, this is ancient religious space where Jews should be able to live. Jews are indigenous to the land of Israel, to the areas of Judea and Samaria. And for Palestinians, this is the part of the area that they want to set up a future state. Now, unfortunately, the lexicon of calling it occupied has been adopted by many in the international community, but many say that it's not occupied territory, it is disputed territory, because there never has been a state of Palestine. And technically, an occupation can only occur when one country or one country's army occupies another country that has been an official state. So When we talk about these areas, we prefer to refer to them as disputed territory because they are under dispute and their final status will only be agreed in an agreement between Israelis and Palestinians, despite many countries trying to force upon us a Palestinian state. Now, in the 1990s, when the Oslo Peace Accords were conducted, that area was divided into what we call areas A, B, and C. Now, areas A is under the remit of the Palestinian Authority. If you are Israeli, an Israeli passport holder, you cannot enter. In fact, you can see that there are signs all around those areas warning of dangers to Israelis should they enter those areas. Area B is dual authority. So you have security authority from Israel and a civil Palestinian authority that looks after that area. And Area C is area that's under Israeli control. So this is what many will refer to as settlements. And very often when you hear declarations that will allow building on settlements, it doesn't necessarily mean a new settlement of people is going to be set up. It could mean buildings on existing structures within these areas that are already built. So this is where it gets very, very confusing for many, but it's actually quite simple. One of the things I really fear that people do is blame what they call settlements, and by this they use a pejorative as the impediment to peace. And while maybe the settlements are seen by many as not helpful to a future peace deal, and there are so many discussions about land swaps and would Jews live under Palestinian governance on condition they can stay in what is holy land, or will Palestinians allow Jews to live in a Palestinian state, which they have clearly said will be absolutely Jew-free, which to me sounds like apartheid and racism. I think the real issues when it comes to peace are issues like incitement of hatred, which leads to the ongoing climate of terror and response. So Lisa, I hope that has helped answer some of your questions. And just to note that when communities or legal communities are set up in land that is not Israeli and is done in an illegal way, the Israeli authorities will dismantle those settlements immediately. We have seen it over the years, and we have seen it in recent months as well. So it is a very, very contentious topic. It is a doozy of a topic, but thank you for your question. I like these challenging questions. So guys, if you do have questions, pop them down below. And that brings me to the end of today's edition of the Israel Brief. Please don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook community, as always, is at Lottel's site. Our YouTube channel's right here at the Israel Brief. Click on that red subscribe button. Let's grow our community. We welcome everyone, even from places that don't start with an S. And we are on X at Lay of the Land 5. I'm Rolene Marks. Guys, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Big love to all of you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.